book is Divergent by Veronica Roth. In this book, there are many life lessons, and it is mostly about a girl who starts a rebellion. Yes. So, but before we go into the video, I'm Navya and this is Ricky, and if you guys haven't already subscribed to BookLove, please do so. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and also ding the bell. Let's go into the book review of Divergent. Divergent by Veronica Roth was published in 2011, and there are actually 2 more books in this series, which are called Insurgent and Elijah. Though I have not read the other 2, as soon as I do, I'll give you guys a book review. So, in this book, the main character... Here, you dropped it. Do you want it? You don't want it? Okay. So, in this book, the main character is Tris Prior, and in her world, there are 5 factions, 5 groups of people who are all different from each other. Don't leave me. In these 5 factions, each group has its own personality. So let me tell you the 5 factions. The first one is Dauntless, where everybody is trained in combat, like they can fight, but they're also very brave and courageous people. And the Amity are really kind, generous people. This Adaptation is where they think of others and they're really selfless. The Urtitude is where everybody's smart. And what's the last one? Oh yeah, Candor, where no one ever tells lies and they always give their honest opinion. So Tris Prior lives in this world, and every single time someone turns 16, they get to choose if they want to stay in the faction they are now or choose another faction. And so Tris Prior, she was born into the Adaptation faction, but she just feels that it isn't her faction. Like most of the time, she can't feel that she's actually selfless. So when it's her time to choose, she decides to choose Dauntless. And when she does, the bravery and the courage and the free-spirited things that the Dauntless do, like jumping off trains when they're still rolling, or jumping from rooftop to rooftop, like the brave stuff that can also be a little fearful, that stuff really, really piques her interest. So she really loves that stuff, and she finally fits in. But before she can become a full member of a true person of Dauntless, she has to go through 3 different stages of training. First, physical training, where they practice fight, and next, mental training. And the mental training is, I really like the part where she goes through the mental training, because there's this big lesson in there that I'll tell you guys later. And then in the end, it's physical training and mental training together. So each faction has its own 3 stages of training before a person can actually fit it. So that's kind of her world. And in her world, so in her world, everybody, it's like a good community. It's a full trained community. And before they get to choose if they want to go to another faction or not, they have to take this test where it's like a stimulation in their mind. Stimulation is kind of like something's happening, but it's just happening in their own head, and it's not actually real. So in this test, it kind of tests for each different faction. Like someone's asking you something that you know, and you purposely decide not to tell that person. And that would mean that you are not fit for Candor, where everybody is always truthful. So each test tests for a different type of faction. And most of the time, people get normal results. Like the people who are testing them are congratulations, you're perfect for Candor. You always tell the truth. Or they're congratulations, you're good for Amity. You're so kind and generous. But sometimes, just sometimes, rarely, there are times when some people, they get a result that's divergent. The meaning of divergent is different. So people are ashamed to say that they're divergent. And what that means is they're a little bit different from the people, and they have this not so fixed mindset, and they're a little bit of everything. Brave, generous, kind, smart, a little bit of everything. So they're called the Divergent, but most people fear them. And the Divergent people are ashamed to call themselves Divergent and fearful, because if the leaders of the community find out, then they will immediately kill the Divergent people. That's how ashamed the Divergent are of themselves. But Tris, when she gets her test results, as Divergent, and in the end of the book, she shows that it's not so bad to be Divergent, and she kind of starts a rebellion. And Like, I really like that part because it says that you shouldn't be afraid to be who you are. So the life lesson is that you can't trust no one and you can't trust everyone. So you have to have some people that you can depend on, that you can trust. And you also have to be someone that people can depend on and trust. So Tris Pryor, her life literally shows this life lesson very like humongously. And that was my favorite life lesson. But there are a few more others that aren't like that big, but this is like the main lesson, the theme of this book. So because she's divergent, she can't really tell everyone like I'm divergent, and she can't tell no one because then she would start feeling lonely, right? So she finds people who are also divergent as her, and in the end of the book, the Urtitude, the smart people, they decide to take over all the other factions. But they're smart people and they're not really like trained in combat, like it's not part of their faction. So they hypnotize, like they mind control the Dauntless, who are like an army, right? They're like trained in combat, and they kind of like make the Dauntless do their bidding. So the Urtitude is kind of like mind controlling the Dauntless into like taking over like the other factions, and most of the time like defeating the Abnegation. So, but the stimulation, like this mind control thing, doesn't work on the divergent people. And Tris is in the Dauntless and she's divergent, so when they try to, it doesn't work on her. And it doesn't work on a few other people as well. In that moment, like she learns other people who are also divergent. So, in the end of the book, Tris ends up in this rebellion that she starts, and she's on her way, in the end of the book, she's on her way to go to another faction, kind of escaping the Urtitude, until like figuring out what to do. So I haven't read the other books, but I really want to, because the end of this book kind of like gives like a big hook, and I really want to read that book, and it's just like so interesting and mysterious and suspenseful. It's really thriller, but it's also really homey. Kind of it's like a cozy book sometimes, and then there's like fight scenes, but they're not boring, they're interesting. So that's like the genres of the book. The rating I would give is like a big 5 out of 5 because, as I guys told you, I really like this book and I've read it 2 times now, and sometimes I don't really go back to the books I read, so like I really loved it. So if you guys like this book, I'll give you guys the Amazon link in the description box, but otherwise, me and Ricky, and you guys can hear Ricky in the background, we will see you guys in another BookLove video very soon. Okay guys, bye! Peace out!